Hey everyone, what is going on? So I have another video for you today, and these are battles that I did. I did them off stream, but the team is going to be a triple counter team, Defense Deoxys with Vigoroth and Obstagoon. And if I'm not mistaken, I do believe Wallower came up with this team. He hasn't played Pokemon Go anymore, but I do believe this was his team. I don't remember these were the exact counter users, but I think so. But either way, let's go ahead and dive right into the battles. This team did really well for me, so we'll see how these games play out. Going to be able to take that Thunderbolt. It's a Defense Deoxys mirror match. I'm going to try to get to another one, and I do successfully get to another one. Very nice indeed, as you can see. Yeah, really not the best IVs, I don't think, for Defense Deoxys, but that is okay. I'm going to go ahead and shield this one up. It is going to be a Thunderbolt, makes sense. That's what I expected, and I want to get to a Thunderbolt before my opponent can, and I'm able to do so, but my opponent catches on Umbreon. But, okay, I mean, that's a good catch, but I'm okay with that, because now I can go into my Obstagoon, and Obstagoon resist the Dark attacks, of course, from Umbreon. If they have Last Resort, that will do neutral damage. If they don't have Last Resort, if they have Psychic, I resist that as well. So, it is Last Resort, but I can still take it. I'm going to go ahead and throw this Cross Shot right now, and I think go for the Farm Down. I believe I do go for that Farm Down. No, I go for another Cross Shot. Okay, yeah, I was thinking about going for the Farm Down, I think, but I was like, you know what, let's just go ahead and throw that Cross Chop. That way, that will prevent my opponent from being able to get off an attack, right? So anyway, I take that Thunderbolt, and I still get to a Night Slash. You love to see it. This is going to KO the Defense Deoxys. I imagine they let it go as they do, and out comes Noctowl, and I bring in Vigoroth, Shield to Tide. I could take a Sky Attack. This is looking pretty good. I'm going to be able to go for this Body Slam right now, and that Body Slam will connect, and do I get to another one? Not quite. I can take a Sky Attack, but I can also shield this, and I decided to shield it because obviously they're not going to go for Shadow Ball. I'm going to have to shield one Sky Attack anyway. Might as well shield it, right? I do go ahead and go for the Body Slam. My opponent is going to go ahead and shield as well. And my opponent will make it to an attack. But as I said, I know I live this attack no problem. So Sky Attack coming out. Able to live that just fine. I do get off my Body Slam now. This is not going to be enough to KO. But that is okay because it will get it low, and one more counter will finish off the Noctowl. And I'm going to be able to take that game. Good game. Well played to my opponent. Let's go ahead and move into the next one. The Deoxys into Lapras. This is great. I love seeing Lapras leads, Bash Shieldon leads, anything weak to counter because the whole team does well against counter. So what I'm going to do is, I'll tell you it's kind of tough. So I'm going to go ahead and throw this Psycho Boost and then switch into Vigoroth. Now again, I don't have to win this matchup because all three of these Pokemon do well against that Lapras, right? So it doesn't matter. I'd rather get shield advantage, to be honest. So I'm going to go ahead and throw the Body Slam. I was not expecting the shield, but my opponent actually does decide to shield. So totally fine. I'm not going to shield my Vigoroth. I do get to another Body Slam. I expected this one to shield, but my opponent actually double shielding that. Okay, double shielding it. Can I make it to one more? Unfortunately not, so they do get quite a bit of farm there. I don't want to bring in Obstagoon and take a Moonblast. I'm going to go ahead and bring in my Deoxys. Sky Attack coming out, totally fine. But they do get to another one, which is unfortunate. So this one I'm going to go ahead and shield and overfarm and go for the Psycho Boost to KO that Altaria. But as I said, I am going to overfarm it, and I do go for that Psycho Boost. So this is going to KO. I'm going to switch out immediately into the Obstagoon afterwards and see what my opponent has. And they have Cofagrigus, which is amazing for me. They have Ghost type, and it's better to see, honestly, than the Sableye or the Trevenant because I resist all those moves, right? So, definitely going to go ahead and shield this attack. I was counting that at 5. I know this is going to be a Surf. Going to go ahead and shield it anyway. My opponent cannot make it to an attack before I farm down, and the Cofagrigus cannot really do anything to Obstagoon. And that is going to be a great game, very well played to my opponent. But you absolutely love to see the Cofagrigus when you have the Obstagoon. Okay, moving on, going up against the Sableye. This is rough. Obviously, Ghost types in the lead are tough. Gotta go into the Vigoroth. My opponent is staying in. So what I figured my opponent would do is they probably don't have the greatest response to Vigoroth, so they want to foul play and then switch out, which is exactly what is happening, into a Toxapex. Okay, so definitely tough for me. I'm going to go ahead and throw this Bulldoze. I'm not anticipating winning the swap or anything like that, but I go ahead and throw this attack into the Toxapex. Now, my opponent farms me down. What I could have done is went up for the Bulldoze and either baited or went straight for the Bulldoze, but I knew my opponent would throw an attack there, so I think that was Yeah, I think I should have went up for that bulldoze, right? Because then the fact that I threw the body slam, my opponent felt comfortable farming me down. So definitely not the greatest play on my end, but that's okay. At this point, I'm just going to rely on Obstagoon and hope that Obstagoon can win. Unfortunately, I still can't even get that farm down. That's what I was going for. Let's see what's in the back. Is it going to be something I'm going to be able to beat? It's going to be a Swamp, and I'm like, well, this is not looking too good because they're definitely going to be able to get both of my shields. I need a boost in order to have a chance, I think. So I'm going to try and get to another one. Obviously, I have the shield, so I'm going to go ahead and respect this Hydro Cannon. I know it's going to be a Hydro Cannon and I shield. And I do get off Night Slash. So this Night Slash is coming out hot, but my opponent does have another shield. They can protect themselves, and that's exactly what my opponent is going to do. So my opponent will throw another attack right now. And this is a Hydro Cannon, and I want to get off my attack, but they actually have another one. They have a third one, so even if I got off my attack that prevented them from getting off the Hydro Cannon, you know what? My opponent would have gotten to a return with the Sableye anyway and just KO'd me. So yeah, I'm not going to win this one. Good game to my opponent. One Night Slash, obviously not enough to KO. Good game. Good game. Well played. Tough lead for us, but that's okay. Moving on, Deoxys in the Medicham. So if you have to see Medicham, this is where you want to see it for sure. Obviously, this is a good matchup. You don't want the backline to see it at all. So my opponent is going to go ahead and throw an attack. I'm just going to let this go. I don't have to shield this, so I'm just going to let it go. Going to be a Psychic. That's fine. That tells me they probably have Power Up Punch, because I feel like you throw Ice Punch if you have Ice Punch, because it's neutral. So I do get a Thunderbolt. My opponent switches into Noctowl. So what I'm gonna do is charge up the Thunderbolt and throw the Psycho boost. I expected my opponent to shield. Unfortunately, my opponent does not shield, so the Thunderbolt would have been nice there. But I could bring in my Vigoroth right now. My opponent will be able to get off an attack right now. And it's going to be a Sky Tag. Obviously, you're not going to throw a Shadow Ball. But I do get off the Body Slam right now. I'm hoping this is definitely not enough to KO. Not even close. But my opponent does shield it, so that's totally fine. I need to win Switch. Absolutely need to win Switch, right? I mean, Deoxys needs to be on that Medicham, so I'm going to go ahead and throw. I could have overfarmed, but I do decide to throw. I just want to get rid of this Noctowl, and Noctowl will go down. Totally fine. I know the Medicham is going to come in, but will I be able to reach a Body Slam to threaten that Medicham? I will be able to reach that Body Slam before I go down. Again, I am assuming Psychic, Power Up Punch, because they did not throw the Ice Punch against my Deoxys. I'm going to bring in my Deoxys. Out comes the Dunsparce, and Dunsparce honestly really has nowhere to go against this team. I love it. The drill runs, neutral damage. It does okay damage. I'm going to go ahead and throw right now. And this is not going to be enough to KO, but I'll just get it low. I know another attack does not KO me, of course, so I'm going to be able to farm down. I'll let this go and let the Medicham will get as little farm as possible, but I'm just going to go ahead and farm that down. And I do throw a Night Slash. The Night Slash is coming out. Will my opponent decide to shield this? My opponent will not decide to shield it. I do go down, but I do... Oh, my opponent's out of shield, that's why. So I'm going to go ahead and shield this. I know it's good. I know I survive it no matter what it is. But I decided to shield it anyway and get off the Psycho Boost. And this will be enough to KO, and that is going to be a great game. Very well played to my opponent. But absolutely love the triple counter team. I've also seen variants of this with, like, Dubwool instead of, like, the Vigoroth, which I think works well as well. Okay, going up against the Sableye, really tough. Obviously, the ghost types you do not want to see. But my opponent brings in Ninetales. So I'm like, okay, well, my opponent bringing in Ninetales. Maybe we could flip this. I know this is going to be Weather Ball. I mean, they're going to throw the Weather Ball. So I'm going to go ahead and take this. And I do decide to bait here. Now, kind of regretting it considering my opponent doesn't shield, but I think it's fine to bait there. So I'm just going to go ahead and throw another one immediately. I do expect to shield this time, but my opponent just lets it go. So at least my Deoxys gets to avoid Sableye, right? Which is really, really good for me. Obviously, Deoxys really has very little play against Sableye, but that process comes in. So it's ABA Ghost. Oh my gosh, that's why they didn't shield. Good play by my opponent. So against the Frostlass, I'm bringing in that Deoxys, right? Because at least we can go for Psycho Boost here. It does neutral damage. Whereas against Sableye, it's resisted. So double resisted. So I'm going to take that Shadow Ball. And my opponent does switch in immediately into the Sableye. I kind of expected that, so I didn't throw the Psycho Boost immediately. But I'm going to be able to bring in this Obstagoon, throw the Night Slash. Hoping for a boost. Unfortunately, I don't get one. My opponent will be able to throw an attack. I was expecting foul play. I got nervous, I guess, so I shielded it. It's a foul play, but that's okay. My opponent actually I remember this is why I miscounted, I guess because they had energy in the beginning, and I thought that was going to be a foul play, but I miscounted that. It makes sense to be a return, but that's my error, but that's okay. I'm going to go ahead and throw this Night Slash. My opponent lets it go, and I throw another Night Slash, knowing the opponent has to shield it. I mean, this is super effective. The opponent definitely going to shield this. So I do want to get to one more. My opponent throws an attack, so my thought process was, okay, let's go ahead and shield this, get off the Night Slash, which will get the shield, and then switch in and go for a Psycho Boost against that Deoxys and hope that it KOs, right? And they do shield, and I'm expecting it to KO. I do get the Psycho Boost off. Let's go. And this is not going to be enough to KO, but another counter will. I'm going to be able to beat the ABA Ghost team. Oh my gosh, nice team. Huge shout out to my opponent. Let's move on to the next one. Going up against the Dragonair. So a lot of times when you see Dragonair in the lead, there's a Bashiodan and Medicham in the back. So I wanted to lure that out with Vigoroth. So I bring in my Vigoroth. My opponent is not switching, which tells me I'm wrong. There's not a Medicham in the back. So I'm going to go ahead and throw this Body Slam. My opponent shielding that. Out comes Noctowl. At least we got a shield. The Dragonair does have energy, but I am going to be able to throw this Body Slam into the Noctowl right now. Very nice indeed. Trying to get to another one. My opponent will not let me get to another one unless if I live this Sky Attack. Do I live this Sky Attack? I actually decide to shield it. And I'm going to go ahead and throw the Body Slam. Over farming a lot. I do throw this attack. Will my opponent shield this? Do they want to fight for Switch? They do not. So I do take Switch. Out comes Dragonair. But they're going for the farm down. I do get to a Body Slam. Vigoroth is really good. If they buff Bulldoze, imagine how good Vigoroth will be, right? So my opponent does shield that. Deoxys coming in. I didn't want to, I decided to bring in the Deoxys. Just because I know I can take these attacks. I do go ahead and get to the Psycho Boost. I can take them better than Obstagoon, I guess. So I do go ahead and throw this Psycho Boost. That will be enough to KO what's in the back. It's a Lantern. This is looking really good because I do have a shield and my opponent will decide to concede that game. And that is going to be a great game. Very well played to my opponent. And yeah, great battles. I'll see you all in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Have a good day. Bye.